it's my fault that it's over. Wish I played it different, I didn't know. All the times that you called me to be closer. Wish I paid attention, I should have known. You're probably with your friends, dancing on tabletops. Hands in his hair already, saying that you forgot about me. I just don't wanna know who you give your loving to. You'll end up leaving here with someone.
So straight in with what I'm currently reading. I am almost bang on halfway through Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I'm reading this as it is my Inner Circle Patreon pick for the month of October. Kylie recommended that I read this, and honestly, thank you so much, Kylie, because I'm really enjoying this now. I am also participating in Slayerfest in the month of October, and this one fulfills prompt 7, which is the tower, and the prompt for that is to read a book outside of your comfort zone. So now that I'm halfway through this, I can be a little bit more in depth about the plot than I was at the end of last week's vlog. I've actually already read quite a bit today, and it's only 5 p.m. This is an adult historical fantasy that follows an 18-year-old girl called Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia lives with the rest of her family in her grandfather's house. However, because of kind of, not the circumstances of her birth, but because of who her father was and the way her family don't like her father, Cassiopeia and her mother are pretty much treated like servants of this household. I believe it's set in 1927, which is during the Jazz Age, and Cassiopeia wants to move to the city and live this life of adventure. However, she doesn't see how that is ever going to be possible. One day when all of her family is out, she is mending shirts in her grandfather's room, and she opens up this mysterious chest which releases a Mayan god of death. This god of death has been imprisoned by Cassiopeia's grandfather and his own brother, and when he was imprisoned, a couple of his body parts were removed so that he could not be restored to his full power if he was ever awakened. And so the god Hun Kame takes Cassiopeia with him on his quest to reclaim all of these missing body parts so that he can head back to the underworld and retake his throne. So the first thing about this book that's very noticeable is that it's very well written. It has a very descriptive writing style. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's flowery or poetic or anything like that, but it is undoubtedly very well written, which I'm really enjoying about it. I struggled with the writing style through the first couple of chapters just as I was adjusting into it, but what's kind of happened over the last 100 pages of this book is that it sucked me in without me really acknowledging that I'm enjoying it or knowing that I'm compelled to carry on, and it's ended up that I'm really into this. When I was reading the first couple of chapters, I was kind of ambivalent, like I had no real feeling. I was just getting a feel for the story, and now I'm just so compelled, honestly. Like I said, I'm pretty much bang on halfway. I'm on page 158. It's like 320 pages. I don't think I'm going to finish it tonight, which was my original aim, but if I don't finish it tonight, I'm 100% going to finish this tomorrow, and I'm really excited to see how this wraps up actually, because I think it's going to have an element or like a plot line that I did not expect from this book going into it, and if it does have that plot line, I'm honestly going to be thriving. So this is all that I'm reading at the moment. It's currently 5 p.m, which means that my work day has come to an end. I got up real early this morning. I normally get up at around 9 a.m and start working at around 9:30, 10 a.m depending on how I feel, but I got out of bed at 7:30 this morning and just decided to stay up. So I had a nice quiet slow morning, drinking my coffee and reading my book. I then spent the majority of the morning finishing editing last week's vlog, and then I made candles and body butter for the rest of the day. So I think I've made 80 candles today, and I'm very nearly out of wax. So what I'm gonna go do now is get some wax ordered, also order some more jars so that the next day that I do a full day of making candles, I don't run out of those, and also check out on my basket of fragrance oils because I'm hoping to restock a couple of things on Friday. I'm feeling kind of, because I woke up so early, I've just been feeling kind of ugh all day. I'm very tired, but my muscles, especially in my back, are feeling kind of tight and not good. So I think after dinner I may actually also do some yoga, then get a bath and see if I can get an early night as well, because that would be nice. I never have early nights. Even if I wake up really early in the morning, it's normally because I haven't slept very much, and then I just end up going to bed at 2 a.m. again. But I really like mornings. I like waking up really early, aside from the fact that it's really cold, and having a slow morning with my coffee and still starting work really early and having a really productive day. So can't promise anything, but fingers crossed. I'm going to have a little bit of a wind down tonight and I want to be in bed by 11. We'll see how that works out. I'm not holding my breath because I know what I'm like. Good morning, guys. I'm just checking in real briefly because I'm starving and I'm about to go get some breakfast. I've been up for like 2 hours almost now, but I can't eat as soon as I wake up. Just the thought of eating when I wake up, just no. I drink coffee, that is it. And then if I've woken up particularly early, like I have again today, then I go back like an hour or so later and make myself some porridge because I just can't do just the thought of breakfast at actual, like, I just woke up time. It's not a good one. But I've got a little bit of book mail today that I'm just desperate to open. This is from Owlcrate, as you can probably tell, but I'm not doing a full unboxing video for this because it is just one book and I think it has like one extra thing in it as well. So doing a full unboxing video for this, it would be like 3 minutes long, so I'm just gonna put it in here. But this is the Owlcrate exclusive of A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, which I finished reading, I think it was very early last week. The lovely team at Owlcrate sent me an email and asked me if I would like this, and it was one of my most anticipated releases of the year, so I was just like, hell yes. And as I just mentioned, I did read it last week. I enjoyed it and also disliked it, but I'm still like really into it. Like I think about it quite frequently at the minute, so oh god, I'm excited. I've never had a special edition from Owlcrate before, like something that's outside of just their monthly boxes. So cracking it open, we have a couple of things on top. First one is just the little card that tells you that this is the Deadly Education special edition, and it only has 2 items in. It has the book and a pin, and the pin is on top. Oh wow, this is really pretty. This was designed by Paperback Bones. It says Mana and Malia on it, which are the 2 different kind of things that you can draw on to do magic in the book. So Mana is like the normal way where you build energy to turn into spells, and Malia is drawing on people's life forces, and that is like the dark arts aspect of the scholomance. So let me find the book. She is right down at the bottom. Oh, she is stunning. Oh my god. So I'm just gonna get it out of its cellophane. Wow, it has gilt edges, which I think I knew, but oh my god, wow. Ooh, so it's smooth, which I didn't expect, but it has the standard cover on it, although I believe, is this the symbol for the US cover? Where's my copy? I know it's around here somewhere. Yeah, so this is the Illumicrate edition, and this one is the Owlcrate one. It also has this stunning key and also moon phases across the bottom on the back, and I love the bright yellow spine. I just love the navy and yellow and navy and gold design of this book in general. And we have gilt edges, which are very pretty. I like it, I think, because it makes it almost look like a spell book. And we also have, if I can find it, a ribbon bookmark in here. The end pages are full of evil eyes. The tip-in page as well, which has a Naomi Novik signature on it, is foiled, and also, I don't know if you can tell in video, but the design around the title is embossed. And in the back it has the things that are the end pages on the editions I have, which is the map of the school, and also I think that's like a top-down version. As well as that, we also have a letter from the author that's been printed in the front, and on this title page it does say that it is a deluxe first edition, but overall this is absolutely stunning, and I honestly just feel so blessed that I have this. So thank you so much to Owlcrate for sending this my way. I hope that they continue to print the series in these fancy editions, because oh my god, imagine how good a full set of these would look. They would be absolutely stunning.
Prologue. I am the Black Flamingo. The Black Flamingo is me, trying to find myself. This book is a fairy tale in which I am the prince and the princess. I am the king and the queen. I am my own wicked witch and fairy godmother. This book is a fairy tale in which I'm cursed and blessed by others. But finally, I am the fairy, finding my own magic.
Lights out and it's not me you're loving. I just don't wanna know. It's all between them. Now I'm sleeping different.
I was totally supposed to come and update you guys this morning because I finished a book, but I went straight from finishing my book into making notes and stuff for my October TBR, and I went straight from that to filming my October TBR, and straight from that to editing it, and then I just had dinner and remembered that I never did update this vlog. So this morning I read the last 40 pages of Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I ended up really enjoying this. That plot thing that I said, I think I said something like, if something happens in the plot of this that I didn't expect, then I would be extremely happy. That thing happened and I was very, very happy about it. This book feels kind of timeless. It feels like, I keep saying this with books I'm reading recently, but it feels like a fairy tale, and I think what I'm trying to get at when I'm saying that over and over again is that standalone fantasy that is kind of not necessarily moralistic, but is just like a little package, like a little fantastical tale, 300 pages and done. It feels fairy tale-esque because that's what fairy tales are. I mean, they're not 300 pages typically, but they are just like a standalone story. You have a plot arc. The plot is normally quite simple. There are obviously complications that make it more complex, but the actual plot from the beginning, like what the characters are trying to achieve, is normally pretty basic, and it's just good, you know? I just like it, and I really liked this book. I would say that if you are a fan of The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, you will really like this, because this to me reads as pretty much the same story as The Bear and the Nightingale, but if you take away the Russian folklore and in its place we have a Mayan mythology. This is historical fantasy. I'm not a huge fan of historical settings, but like The Bear and the Nightingale, which is a historical Russian story, this is a historical Mexican story set during the 20s and 30s during the Jazz Age, and I really liked the kind of blend of the old mythology coming to life blended with this 20s and 30s time period. I really like Cassiopeia. I really like Hunkame. The antagonist, I don't want to say I like them because I really don't, but they were good as an antagonist because I did not like the attitude of the antagonist in here. Going into this, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because this to me has always seemed like it's going to be literary fantasy, and I wouldn't say that it's literary fantasy at all now that I've read it. There were lots of elements in here that I did not expect. I kind of don't really want to say too much about it to you guys because I went into this expecting one thing and found something else that I completely enjoyed, and it would be cool if you guys could have the same experience as well. I always wondered with my preconceptions of this that it would be literary fantasy. I always wondered why people liked it so much, but now I realize that it was just me. Like, I was wrong. This book is really good, and yeah, I would recommend you pick it up, especially like I said, if you like the general Bear and the Nightingale thing. It's nothing like Bear and the Nightingale, so don't go into it thinking that it is going to be. Like, the writing style is different, the setting's obviously very different, the characters are very different, but I just feel like it has the same kind of plot just with a completely different setting and mythology in here. So as I mentioned, this is not on my October TBR for the month. However, it was my Inner Circle Patreon pick for the month, and for Slayerfest this fulfills prompt number 7, which was to read a book outside of your comfort zone. So I have already started another book. I pretty much went straight from Gods of Jade and Shadow into this other book because I'm listening to the audiobook whilst I'm reading along with it, and that one is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This one is on my October TBR. It is on there to read contemporary, and this is yet another book that I borrowed from Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction. So I have the audiobook on Audible because with books told in verse, which this is, I definitely prefer to listen to it as well. I'm not very good with poetry in general or anything that's kind of like verse-like or kind of, I was gonna say artistic, but all writing is artistic, but anything that's like poetry or like verse, I stay away from it. If it's like a poetry collection, I'm not a huge fan, but books told in verse, I just get the audiobook at the same time, and then I get the flow, and I feel like I have a better feel for the book. So this one is for Slayerfest as well. This one is for location number 8, which is the magic box. The world has been saved again, but shenanigans ensue when a fun-loving demon turns Sunnydale into a Broadway musical. Read a poetry book, a book written in verse, or read a book where music has a primary plot point. So this definitely fulfills that as it is told in verse. The storyline of this, we're pretty much just following a boy called Michael, and it's his life story. It is a queer story. It starts off talking about his birth, and then I think the first point of reference we have for an age is when he's 6 years old. I'm currently 112 pages into this now, and I believe he has just turned 16, and this is just the story of him him growing up, his childhood, like discovering that he is queer. And I believe that one of the main points of this story is that he does eventually become a drag queen, and that is something that he wants to pursue. So I am really enjoying it so far. Something that I did not know before I went into this is that Dean Atta is British, so all of the references kind of to school and stuff kind of resonate with me a little bit more because I went through the UK schooling system. Like, I do always say I'm not a fan of British contemporary, and that is because I don't read for realism. I read for, not necessarily for escapism, but I don't want to read about life that I've experienced because that's boring to me. Like, if I wanted that experience, I would just go get it. So I tend to read contemporary more that's set in American schools because it just has that extra like degree of separation from me because I haven't been through the American schooling system. But in some instances, it being set in Britain really works for me. This is one. Heartstopper by Alice Oseman is another instance of that. And I think it's kind of unusually told novels. Like, I don't like reading full novels that are a little bit too realistic for me, but like this is in verse. Heartstopper is a webcomic series and I do enjoy it in those instances. So as I mentioned, I'm 112 pages into this now. It's only 360 pages long. Honestly, I put my makeup on. It does not take me long to put on makeup, and I was already 60 pages into it, I think, by the time I'd finished doing that. So I don't know if I'm going to carry on with this tonight, and I think I may tell you about the other book I'm going to be picking up as well. I did mention when I did my October TBR that for one of the prompts, which was to read a graphic novel or a manga, I did want to read Angel After the Fall Volume 2, and I said in that video that if it didn't arrive in time, because I have ordered it from Waterstones, but it's one of those books where they say they don't have it right now, but they will have it in like a couple of weeks and then they'll send it. So it still hasn't arrived. I'm gonna have to chase it up. But I have swapped that out, and I was gonna swap it out for Isola Volume 2, but I went onto NetGalley the other day and I saw a manga that seemed pretty interesting. I requested this on a whim. I've been approved for it and it will be the next book I'm reading, but I'm not sure how it's gonna go. So it's called The Witch and the Beast Volume 1. I think it's around 200 pages. I have, as I've got it on NetGalley, it's an e-arc, but I'm just going to read you the very short Goodreads synopsis as like I said, I requested this on a whim. A witch's curse. Guido, a feral girl with long fangs and the eyes of a beast. Ashaf, a soft-spoken man with delicate features and a coffin strapped to his back. This ominous pair appears one day in a town that's enthralled to a witch who has convinced the townsfolk she's their hero. But Ashaf and Guido know better. They have scores to settle and they won't hesitate to remove anyone in their way. So yeah, that's all I know about it. Requested it because it sounded interesting. I've been approved and I will probably read that tonight. My plan for tonight, Curtis is watching football, so I'm gonna like barricade myself in my reading room away from all of that. I've edited Bookopoly, I've set it to upload, so I'm gonna make my thumbnail, fill in the description box, proof it, all of that stuff. And then after that, I may start editing this vlog because having most of the vlog edited last week was really helpful to me. And then depending on how I'm feeling, I will either continue with the Black Flamingo and put headphones in, or I'm holding this because my Kindle's in the other room, or I will read The Witch and the Beast. Regardless of which one I continue with, I think I'm going to finish a book today, so I should in theory be back later tonight to let you know my feelings on one of those two. So I just submitted my feedback for Kingdom of the Wicked, which I finished on Saturday because I had forgotten that I needed to do that, and I went and looked at the sci-fi and fantasy category just to see if anything had been added. I mean, I was only on it a few days ago, but just out of curiosity, and I just discovered that there is a book coming out on the 11th of February 2021 called Beneath the Keep by Erica Johansen. So as soon as I saw the name, I was like, I'm pretty sure that is the author of The Queen of the Tearling, and it is. And Beneath the Keep is a Tearling prequel, and I had no idea that this was being released, and it must have been announced a while ago if it's coming out in February. Literally not heard a single thing about it, so I've just sent in a request for that. But the Tearling series is one of my favorite series of all time. I say that, I'm not sure what ratings I gave the books. Let me have a look. I gave the first one 4 stars, the second one 4 stars, and the third one 5 stars. It's really immersive and I really like the characters, and the ending is one, it's very polarizing. A lot of people hate it, but I personally love it, and I think that Erica Johansen took a big risk in ending it that way, and it paid off really well. So yeah, all I know about it is that it is a prequel, but I'm really damn excited, and I thought I would let you guys know in case you are a fan of the Tailing series and like me had no clue that this was being released. I told you guys that I was gonna come and let you know when I finished one of the 2 books that I was reading, and I've actually now finished both. It's like 4 p.m. on Thursday. Last night I got into bed and I finished up The Witch and the Beast. So I had kind of mixed feelings about this. For the longest time I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't enjoy the first half of this very much at all. It's about this girl called Guido who's partnered with this guy called Ashraf. She has a very strong vendetta against witches because she has actually been cursed by a witch, and she is trying to break the curse, and he works for this organization. I mean, they both do, I guess, but mainly he works for this organization that is of magic, for magic, by magic, or something like that. It's repeated a couple of times throughout the manga. So he is a low-level caster but also an operative, and this company that they work for are essentially sent out to help people with magical problems. So they do things like open magic boxes and recapture escaped magical beasts and things like that. The first half of the story, it was very fast-paced. I don't like predominantly action manga, so I don't read a lot of shonen manga or anything like that because I've mentioned this before, but I struggle with processing images. So it's a wonder that I like graphic novels at all, but like I can't read a diagram to save my life. So anything that's like purely visual in a picture format that doesn't have text accompanying it, I struggle with. So when there's a lot of action scenes, I do struggle to follow them a little bit. The second half, however, had a little bit of a mystery element in it, and it slowed down a lot, like the pace slowed down a lot, and I really started to enjoy it more. However, it ends kind of like midway through that second story arc. So I did give this one 3 stars overall. I'm kind of interested in continuing. I believe that this is being published in English on the 27th of this month, so it's just been published, and then the second one is being published a little bit later, but still this year. So that was the graphic novel prompt for my Bookopoly TBR done. The second book I finished was The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. I finished this afternoon. It is a very short book, like the audiobook's only 4 hours, and I was listening to it on 1.5 speed when I was reading along and 1.2 speed when I was just listening to it, like when I was eating and things like that. This one is mainly about identity. I forgot to mention when I told you what this is about that the main character Michael is also mixed race. So he's mixed race, half black, half Greek, and he is also queer. So it is just his journey of self-discovery from a very young age up until around the age of 20. I really enjoyed that this was told in verse. There were lines in here that really spoke to me, and it was just a really enjoyable read. It dealt with hard topics in a couple of ways, like Michael is bullied. There's also a little bit of homophobia in here, a little bit of racism in here, because these are all things that he has to deal with. But I do think that this is a very enjoyable novel, as well as being told in verse. It is also illustrated. So Michael is a poet and he writes his poetry, and as you can see there's like a little bit of a distinction. There's also like a couple of illustrated pages like this one, and yeah, it was just overall a very enjoyable experience. I gave this one 4 stars because I loved it, but I can't say I was overly invested because contemporary kind of coming of age slice of life type of stories aren't my thing. So I do acknowledge that this is really, really good. I did really enjoy it, but 4 stars as opposed to 5 for me personally. For Bookopoly, this was on my TBR to read a contemporary, and then for Slayerfest, this fulfilled the prompt for the magic box, which was to read a book that was either poetry, told in verse, or featured music as a main theme. So that is all but 1 book from my Bookopoly TBR done. I do have 2 prompts left on Slayerfest. I've accepted. I'm not going to get to prompt 10. I'll probably get to prompt 10, but I definitely won't finish it this month, and I've put that book on my November TBR now as well. So the next book that I'm going to be picking up, which is my final Bookopoly book of the month, is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is the book on my TBR that I have wanted to read the most, and it has taken me until the 29th of October to get to this. I knew it was quite far in my TBR, so essentially I have been powering through and powering on, and I did not want to take a punishment for Bookopoly this month because the book I most wanted to read was the final book from my Bookopoly TBR I was going to be reading, so I was adamant I was going to get to this. So on my Bookopoly TBR, this one fulfills the prompt to read a book that was gifted to me, and for Slayerfest, this is for location number 9, which is Willow has gone dark over the loss of her love. She has flayed Warren and is hunting Andrew and Jonathan, but she has to be stopped. Read a dark or taboo book. So the plot of this one, I'm not sure exactly how it's told, but we are following a character who I think is in her 30s, and a man who was one of her teachers when she was a teenager is now on trial for sexual abuse allegations. And the main character, I'm going to assume she's called Vanessa. Let me check, I could be wrong. No, she's definitely called Vanessa. Vanessa is being, I guess, forced to confront what happened to her when she was a teenager, because she was actually in a relationship with the teacher that has been accused of sexual abuse, and it is about how he groomed her and how it actually was sexual assault, but the way she sees it and the way she saw it then is that it was like a legitimate romantic relationship. So you guys know I love my dark contemporary, I love my taboo contemporary, and I've just been so excited to get into this one. Ideally, I would have liked to have finished this by the end of Saturday, which is the last day of the month. Maybe a little bit earlier actually, because the first day of the month is an upload day for me, so I have to film my wrap up on Saturday, so it would be great if I could get this book into it. But even if I can't, I would ideally like to finish it before the start of November, because my November TBR is a little bit insane. So it's just past 4 p.m. now. I made a ton of candles this morning and I'm done. I'm pretty much done for the day. However, as I do still have some time left in my working day, I'm going to make a start on editing this vlog. I'm going to crack on with that for an hour or so, and then sometime tonight I will start this. Hey guys, it's nearly 6 p.m. and I have spent all of my day filming and editing. I'm really sad about it as well, because it's Halloween and I wanted to do spooky stuff like watch spooky films and just kind of read and be cozy all day, and it wouldn't have gone this long, but it has become very apparent today that we are probably going to be heading into a full UK lockdown, with the exception, we're assuming, of schools and things staying open. So I don't know what it is. Like, I've had a bit of a weird day. I've been feeling weird. When I was filming, I was fine this morning. I think I finished at 12:30 and I was absolutely fine, and then this afternoon I've just been feeling anxious, and I hate feeling anxious. Like, feeling anxious is the worst feeling. Like, I don't get a physical pain or anything like I know some people do, but it's just the feeling of, I'm sure some of you guys are like me in this way, if I have an appointment at any time that isn't shortly after I wake up, I spend all day on edge, because I know I have to go out at some point, so I can't settle and I can't do anything for a period of time because I have to go out at some point in the day. It's ridiculous. But that feeling you get, or like when you're waiting for a job interview and you're kind of nervous and on edge, that is the anxious feeling that I get, but I'm not waiting for anything. It's just a constant period of being in that stage, and it's just, I hate it. I hate it. So it's taken me a long time to edit. I only edited one unboxing and a wrap up, and my wrap up is not that long, but yeah, it's taken me pretty much all of the day. The lockdown address was supposed to be at 4 p.m. and then it was pushed to 5 p.m. and it's now 5:43 and still nothing. So I'm currently waiting for that. I've just exported my video. I'm not going to proof it or anything today. Just set it to upload and I'll do all that in the morning, because I just really don't want to. But I do plan on watching maybe some Blind Manor, and also, what else? Interview with a Vampire tonight as like my spooky Halloween treat or whatever. I might be watching Interview with a Vampire with Ashley. Like, I think she's in it on Amazon Prime. I have the DVD and then we'll just watch it at the same time. So yeah, those are my Halloween plans. My Dark Vanessa is not going well. I'm on page like 115-ish, I want to say. I'm definitely past the page 105 mark, because that was the end of a really long chapter, and I've read a little bit since then. I'm enjoying it, I guess. It's making me feel kind of squicky, which was expected. The storyline is pretty much as I said. We're following Vanessa when is she 32 or 34, in 2017 during the Me Too movement, and a girl who went to the same school as her but like a decade after has accused the teacher of sexual abuse, and I believe it's something that had happened before but it was thrown out, and because of the Me Too movement it's kind of had a resurgence, and this girl is posting on Facebook about it and gaining a lot of traction because of the Me Too movement. Vanessa is still in contact with this teacher and she wants to make sure that he's okay, because she's assuming like that the girl's lying, and then we flash back to the year 2000 and 2001, which is when the relationship or abuse is actually happening. The main character does recognize it as abuse, but at the same time she feels incredibly defensive of the teacher, because abuse, like it fucks with you like that. So far it is graphic. It's not incredibly graphic in the sexual content. It's not like smut, but it is graphic, like it's described and stuff. And yeah, it's just making me feel a bit gross, especially because even like the way it's written, even though Vanessa in some of the instances, like she's unsure in some of the instances, it's like a great kind of illicit romance to her in a lot of ways. But as a reader, because Vanessa is describing what her teacher is doing, you can recognize the way that he's emotionally manipulating her and stuff, even if she is not recognizing it. And yeah, it's got me feeling real weird, but I am enjoying it, and hopefully I will finish it tomorrow, which I wanted it done by tonight, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I also have a sore tooth, like my gum is sore here and it's really hurting, so I think I may see if I can get some Bonjela on that, because it's my gum, I can tell, and I'm not happy. Hey guys, it's Monday afternoon now. It's like 4 p.m. on Monday. Yesterday I had a little bit of a day. On Saturday they did announce that we are not going into quite full lockdown like before, but everything non-essential is going to be closing again, and all of the panic buyers have come out once again. So yesterday I ended up making a trip to Asda, which is the closest big supermarket to me. I have some small ones around, but that one is like the closest superstore. And I didn't panic buy, but I did do like a big food shop, and also picked up some things that I've been needing for quite some time as well. After that, when I come home, I did a little bit of editing, had dinner, finished season 4 of Money Heist, which, oh, I love that show so much. I think it's on level with The Umbrella Academy for me, which is another one of my favorite like recent shows. I love it so much. I love all of the characters, and I'm really sad that I have to wait until next year for the final season. I'm sad that it's going to be the final season, but I really did enjoy watching that. Then I had a bath, I got in bed to read a little bit, had some anxiety problems because I'm just feeling a little bit kind of claustrophobic, and the announcement of the UK going back into lockdown kind of just made me feel more like trapped. So I haven't been feeling too great. I'm feeling a lot better today. It was just a little blip, but after I'd finished reading last night, I just did not feel capable of coming downstairs and wrapping up this vlog, so I'm doing that now. I have finished my Dark Vanessa. Full disclosure, I finished this today, so technically it should be in next week's vlog, but this was the last book on my October TBR, and I may as well just wrap it up here instead of repeating myself when I start next week's vlog. I didn't enjoy reading this. This is the thing. I think it's a very good book, but it's not enjoyable to read at all. I'm not too bothered by dark subject matters. They don't normally make me feel some type of way. Normally I'm more intrigued when reading a book that has a dark subject matter, but this definitely has a big ick factor. This made me feel really uncomfortable when I was reading it, which is definitely supposed to do. I do think it's really good. I really like the writing in here. I liked the narrative. I liked how we flicked back between the two timelines of Vanessa as a teenager up until around her early 20s, and then the present day timeline where she is dealing with people making allegations against Strain and how she feels about that. There are content warnings in here, as you can imagine. The big one is obviously paedophilia, but then there is also trauma as well. One thing that I really liked about this is that it's very therapy positive. Vanessa is in therapy in the present day timeline, and I definitely liked how it portrayed therapy as a positive influence in her life and not her being weak because she had to go to therapy, or that therapy is unhelpful. I did really like that the novel gave the message across that therapy is a good thing. Like, if you're struggling, therapy will help you. And I did like the depth in which Kate Elizabeth Russell went into the repercussions that Vanessa was facing, even though she herself did not feel particularly bothered by what had happened to her. Ultimately, this book is about those long-lasting repercussions when you are abused as a child, or when something traumatic happens to you as a child. I liked how this was, I don't want to say realistic because I cannot speak on whether it is realistic or not, but how it did not shy away from how disgusting elements of this book is, and it didn't make Vanessa out to be, I don't really know how to put it, like, she does not consider that she was abused, and it really goes into that. So it didn't put forward this pretty little package of a message that victims of abuse will always do, like, recognize abuse and look back on that time of their life negatively and things like that. Vanessa has a lot of complex feelings about what happened to her, and as well as it being about the repercussions of abuse and trauma, it is also about cycles of abuse as well. Like I said, I didn't enjoy it, but I did think it was really good. So this was the final book on my Bookopoly TBR for October, which was to read a book that had been gifted to me. Did not mention that this book was kindly gifted to me by Kira, so thank you so much, Kira, for sending this to me. Definitely something that is up my alley. Surprisingly, actually, I wasn't as gripped by it as I thought I would be with how much I do enjoy dark contemporary, but I do think it's a really good book. Be careful picking this one up because it, like I said, it does not shy away from the details and things like that. But if dark contemporary is something that you like, if books that feature things like trauma and mental health and repercussions of trauma and abuse is something that you enjoy reading, which sounds like a really weird thing to say, but if that is an area that you are interested in, I would recommend that you pick this one up. So I'm going to be wrapping up this vlog here. I have hardly edited any of this vlog, and it's something that I'm going to have to do tonight. It's going to be a late working night, but yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.